Yo, K-Kunnnn here. Today we are going to uncover the kit of the self-proclaimed legendary warrior Jufufu, alongside her partner Huey, the popcorn piss-smelling Beyblade. So without any further delays, let's dive into Jufufu. So I think most of us know Jufufu's kit since she's a trial character when you play the 2.0 story, but for the people who haven't reached that part or just doesn't know yet, Jufufu is a support that is disguised as a stunner character, giving the team crit damage, increased ult damage, and chain attack damage, and finally adding 1k points to your decibel limit instead of the normal 3k. So let's start with the core passive of Jufufu and terminology of her kit. So, Might and Momentum. Might is the gauge under her HP. Every time it hits half or even full, she'll do her special chain attack / aftershock that will provide you her infinite buff from her core passive, and you'll passively gain it with Huey attacking the enemies. And Momentum is indicated by the blazing flames on her Might gauge, and she'll glow like orangey red on the battlefield. Momentum is gained by doing her EX skill and ult, which you can stack up to 15 times, and Momentum enhances her Beyblade attack, which is her dash attack, to fire instead of physical, which gets you from normally 5 might every time the Beyblade hits the enemies. Now it becomes 25 might per hit with her blazing Beyblade attack. So if you have 100 might, she'll do her chain attack / aftershock that will give you the Tiger Sword effect that gives you 20% crit damage to the entire team, and additionally if you go past 2800 attack, every 100 attack is 5% crit damage, and the limit is 30% crit damage, which means you need 600 attack to cap this out. It's around 3400 attack. The team's ult damage will increase to 40% and chain attack damage to 20%. Pretty nice. And this effect lasts for 30 seconds, and lastly she gets 50 free impact when she's in the Tiger Roar effect. Her additional ability is basically if you have a Rupture or an attacker agent, you will increase the decibel cap to 4k instead of 3k. Very nice, you won't overcap, and you can hoard your ults when you need them the most. Now her basic attack is pretty funny, going into her Wolverine state, slashing the enemies infinitely. Sadly, you can't really grab the enemies and jump off the cliff and get an instant 60k points on Deadly Assault. And if you hold your basic attack while finishing your slashes, she'll go into the air and do 1000 slashes as a finisher. Pretty cute and funny. Her EX skill is a cool spitting slam, and Huey's getting abused here, which will be your main source that gives you 3 momentum and 80 might, so spam this whenever you see the opportunity to use it. Her dodge is basically a normal dodge, but when you dodge and hold your basic attack after, she will enter the Beyblade attack mode, and then if you let go immediately, she will get a decent amount of might. Now her assist is your standard parry, with the exception of when you parry and follow it up with a basic attack, she'll get 1 momentum, and the cooldown for this is like 10 seconds. The cooldown's kinda like a party pooper, but it is another way to get momentum. So she has 2 chain attacks. One is considered to be aftershock, and this is one that will trigger whenever you have 100 might, which will give you the Tiger Sword effect as well, which is Huey barfing out hot melting popcorns onto the enemy. And then her other one is when you actually chain into her, slamming the enemies with Huey. Man, I feel bad for Huey. Her ult is basically a Giga Slam with Huey, with them spewing popcorn everywhere and getting 6 momentum and 100 might. Pretty nice. So with her kit covered, let's get into her stats and gears. You can see I've reached the 3400 limit with sacrificing my crit rate and especially my crit damage. Now her skill priority, I would recommend leveling up her core passive first, then equally leveling up her ult and EX skill, then her assist, and then the rest you can just upgrade them if you want to. Now her disk drives obviously get the new King of the Summit disk drive that's basically best in slot for every stunner character agents right now. So the 2-piece is basically 6% days increase, and then the 4-piece essentially whenever you EX skill or chain attack, the team will get 15% crit damage, and when your stunner is at like 50% crit rate, you get another 15% crit damage, which lasts for 15 seconds. Insane. And for the 2-piece, it can be a Woodpecker Electro if you're still missing the 50% crit rate, or you can run like the Astral Voice and Hormone Punk for the attack percent so you can reach 3400 attack. Those 3 disk drives are the ones that I would recommend, especially the Woodpecker Electro if you're missing the 50% crit rate. And obviously the stats are on the screen. Be sure to get close to 3400 attack and 50% crit rate for the maximum buff that Jufufu will provide to the team. Running crit rate on the 4th slot is okay if you can't reach 50% crit rate and you are unlucky with your substats. Preferably, you want it to be attack for her crit damage buff. For the 6th slot, you can make an argument that you can run impact so that you can stun the enemies faster, but again, the buff she provides is arguably better. Or just run like another stunner agent with her and turn her into like a support that acts like a stunner. Now her Wengine options. Her Sig really helps you reach the 3400 attack with its high base attack and attack percentage, and then the passive just helps her out with her missing days and giving the team an increased damage buff, stacking up to 2 times if she does an EX skill, chain attack, and ult. Pretty good on her. Obviously. You can run Kaleida's signature Wengine, the Hellfire's gear, with its high base attack and the energy regen and impact increase with her when you EX skill is pretty nice on Jufufu. So if you pick this one for your Wengine selector, it'll be good for Jufufu. For F2P, if you have the Brimstone that's not being used on anyone, you can just use it for the base attack and attack percentage it gives you. But if you don't have that, your best bet is any Wengine that has attack percentage. It can be like Anomaly, an attacker Wengine, as long as it's attack, go for it. Now team options. Here are her team options. Jufufu is pretty universal as long as they are an attacker or Rupture Agent. She'll work fine in a lot of these teams. Sometimes she can be like a side grade when you're putting up against Lighter, since Lighter's just the most broken support in this game, second to Astra. And if you want to run 2 meme teams, why not? Game's all about fun, screw the meta. So first one being Yixuan, Panyin-Wu, and Jufufu. I mean, this team is pretty good and it literally just makes Yixuan stronger than ever. If you're running Astra Yao like me in this team, you can remove her and put her somewhere else that really needs her buff, because Jufufu is her best in slot stunner slash support. So what I do on this team is just basically, if the boss is just like standing around setting up, I do her Beyblade attack and just build up might as quickly as possible to get her buff up and swap onto Po if I see that he has energy and EX skill, with him quick assisting to Yixuan and start DPSing with her. And when it comes to stunned rotations, you just want to be swapping back to Yixuan, providing all the buffs she needs to do her nuke damage onto the enemies. This team's just a hyper carry team, providing all the team buffs to Yixuan to nuke the enemies. Here is an F2P option where it's not really free to play but fire to play option, having Soldier 11 as your on-fielder while she's getting buff from Lucy and Jufufu. Pretty solid team. Rotating this is pretty nice since all you have to do is just bash the enemies with Soldier 11 and occasionally switching into Jufufu and Lucy to do her EX skills and prolonging their buffs for Soldier 11. And it's a pretty comfy team. Soldier 11 mains who just started out in 2.0, you won't be disappointed in this team. The babysitter team or the 2 double stunner team, Hugo will really like this team. 2 fire stunner characters with Hugo. If you don't have Lighter, you can just run Lycon as your on-fielder stunner rather than like switching between Jufufu or Lighter. This team's pretty nice since Hugo benefits a lot from Jufufu, especially when you do his cool tech of just like swapping and chaining with Hugo over and over and totalizing the enemy with his ult. You see damage per screenshot. Astra Yao, Evelyn, and Jufufu is another solid team, making Evelyn the one that's mostly on-fielding on the team, just Astra Yao and Jufufu just being off-field doing her stuff and providing all the damage buffs to Evelyn, so that you can stack up tether points really quickly and building up energy for her so that you can stack more tether points and get more chain attacks with her. So pretty solid team, so you could use this if you don't have Lighter on your account. Now I just want to highlight her first and second Mindscape because it's just so good if you read them, but you have to swipe your life saving on this, which is not good, but yeah. So the first one, upon entering combat, Jufufu gets like 12% crit rate, which will help her with the Summit's King buff, and she'll immediately gain like 100 might from the start, so you won't have to do her like Beyblade move over and over, so that you can immediately start up with your insane buffs. And then when the enemy is stunned, the target stun damage multiplier increases by 35%, lasting for 30 seconds, which is freaking nuts, bro. More freaking damage. And then M2, while in the Tiger's Roar state, character crit damage increases by an additional 22%. Whenever any character activates an ult, Jufufu gets 3 momentum points, so you're basically having like giga uptime on her Tiger's Roar effect with this one. It's pretty good, but you just have to swipe on it, which is pretty bad. Now then, pros and cons. So pros, universal for attacker agents and rupture agents, so she'll be pretty good on these teams as I've mentioned, since you can pretty much slot her anywhere on those teams. She can fill up 3 roles, meaning she can basically stun, support, and probably DPS if you meet her high attack requirement so that you can maximize the buff while doing a lot of damage with her. Easy to build, just slap on attack on her and you're pretty much finished if you're an F2P player, but if you're like a low spender or like a dolphin or a whale, you could probably make her into a sub DPS as well. Brain dead easy to play, just press 2 buttons, her EX skill, and her ult, and then you could probably sweat if you want to. Universal Wengine options. You can run like any Wengine that has attack percentage on them and she'll work fine with it. And last one, she's just cute. How can you not give this little freaking tiger headbats, bro? She's so cute. Her Wengine makes your life so easy. You have to swipe on the Wengine better, which is already an L, and probably makes her into a DPS as well if you have her Wengine. Boring if you're just casually playing her, you won't really be swapping onto her most of the time if you're casually playing with her, but if you're like sweating with her, then I guess that's not really boring to play with her then. Damage is aight if you're F2P. She'll be more of like the stunner supporting role, so you won't really expect high damage numbers from her. Her startup on the buffs might take a while, so setting up her buff will probably take you around like 1 to 5 seconds. Which goes into my next point, her mindscapes are pretty good, especially her first one and second one. Like the first one really just fucking makes the previous con just irrelevant since you can just start up with her Tiger's Roar effect immediately on the battle. If you're interested in Alice or Yuzuha like me, then it'll be hard for you to save up, so don't give in to the FOMO and decide if you really want the Tiger Girl or the 2 brand new shiny characters, but that's up to you. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Sub so I can stay in the basement, like for the algorithm, and leave down in the comments below. Are you still pulling for her even with the 2 new cute characters in the next patch? But yeah, that's pretty much it. Bye!